Welcome to episode 3 of Between Two Rigs. I am Jeremy Compton, VP of Engineering for DET Consulting, and this is Pat Salvo, LinkedIn certified CEO of DET. Welcome today. Today's topic we're going to be discussing are roles and relationships. No, not at your house, in the workplace. First, before we get into that though, wanted to address a few things. We've got some comments from social media and our fan mail. We've had a lot of engagement this week. Wanted to discuss some of that.
Yeah, hey, big shout out to the guys over at Vine, the gents over there. Some really good back and forth on conversations on pushing performance, delivering things to your company that you're with. It's a big deal, pushing limits and being able to drill wells for cheaper. It's better for everyone, right? Cheaper we can drill them, the more wells we can drill. All of the industry benefits from that. So really big deal, appreciate that.
Yes, without a doubt, without a doubt. All right, let's move on to question number 2 that we got. Okay, this is a touchy one. So one of our fans wrote in and asked what our thoughts were on the election. Well, I can just tell you, DT, look, we got fans all over the world. People following us everywhere now.
Yeah.
It's blowing up, it's getting big. We're definitely not gonna step on anybody's toes. We're gonna stay neutral on this one. This is not a political show at all. What we're doing here is about drilling, so we're just not even gonna address that one. All right, next question. Okay, third question is one that Pat and I get all the time when we start working with new customers, even a couple weeks into getting ready for projects, you know, things that we get asked, and this gets into today's topic of roles and relationships. You know, how am I still going to be involved when D&T comes in and goes? So I think, Pat, start off on this one.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of the questions we get all the time with a customer that we come in at the very beginning. You know, they want to know what their role is and what our role is and how that's going to work together. Our main idea and how we want to be is we want to be a part of all of our customers' team. That's what our whole deal is. A team atmosphere is everything. We want to come in, we want to understand what our clients' goals are. And whenever those goals, whenever we can match our performance, what we've seen around the country to those goals, we can come up with a great plan on how to actually execute that goal and make that the end game.
Yes, no, I think, you know, that's always been something that I've said and preached to people when we're designing wells. We don't start designing a well with the first 100 feet we have to drill. We start at 23,000 foot and 13,000 TVD. And how do we get here? Well, when you apply that from wells going into a company portfolio or design or what they're going to be looking at in 3 years, I think that changes your topic of conversation. So, you know, like last week, we discussed that we drilled 60 plus wells in 4 different states. We see a very diverse group of mindsets. Yep. We see a very diverse group of thought processes on how to get to the end game. So a lot of times, you know, Pat's really black and white when we discuss this stuff, and it's great because it's, you know, well, what is your goal? What do you want to accomplish out of this project? What do you want to accomplish in 3 years, 5 years? And sometimes the project kind of changes shape once we all sit down and look at it and go, okay, well, this is what you want to accomplish. Well, are we starting off on, you know, is your goal absolute best well no matter what? We have some customers that are still trying to prove fringe acreage, things like that, right? Like we got to pump some money and some sand and do a lot of things into that well to prove it works. We're not going to go in there and drill the tightest designed walking the ledge of feasibility on that project versus where we walk into a field that has 200 wells drilled in it and these guys need development mode day one, let's go in and hammer it. Yeah. Those are 2 different wells and those are 2 different roles. It still doesn't change, though, I think, our attitude on how we go in and look at this and who we are. We don't have customers that we go in and do a little bit of stuff through and then it's kind of like, oh, thanks, DET, y'all handle this one little aspect. You know, I think we build long-term relationships. Yeah. And I think you can go in a little more on that, on how we supplement those in between projects.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things as we talk about being the operations group of our clients is, I mean, just because we're not drilling a well or completing a well or anything on the operations base doesn't mean that there isn't things that operations need to be involved in. You know, looking at pads, looking at field development, what that looks like, looking at AFEs, looking at acquisitions. It's one of those things that we really encourage our clients to ask us these things because of the things that we see and the amount of wells we drill and the amount of wells we complete, to actually have some input on those things. And whenever they're assessing what acquisitions look like, what full-scale development looks like. And the more we can be involved with that, the more that we can align goals to the actual company and actually realize those goals. So it's been a pretty big deal whenever we can do those things and be a part of our clients, their entire group and their team. We see some really great results come out of it.
Yes, no, without a doubt. Some of the other things we see from that too, and how we structure our project management and cost and things like that, you know, we really focus on being able to provide work with no cost during the downtime.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to lawyer people to death. We're not billing hourly. We're not sending you an invoice every month. You know, we're project-oriented people, but we're there from tea to green, January through December 31st, right? Like, because the 6 months leading up to a project may change the whole direction of what needs to be happening because of land or lease language, or what the offset operator just fracked a well right next to you and they weren't on the up and up in the field that happened, and things of this nature, right? Like, so the downtime isn't downtime for us.
No.
And we're busy. We work just as hard when the project's not going on as we do while it's going on.
Yeah.
And it generates, you know, long-term relationships. The customers that we work for, we become part of the team. We're not a consulting group that's just sitting out there that's brought in to look at a few things and goes away. We become part of the team and we become part of the company. And I think that's something we pride ourselves on, being able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things that mean a lot to us, on being able to be a part of a group and part of a team, see the accomplishment from A to Z all the way through. It's such a big deal. It's the way that we've seen it works the best. And it takes a lot of cooperation on both sides on how to do that. And what we always say is the first project with a new client is probably one of the most difficult ones there is, because everyone's understanding how everyone works together. You know what? The second one is a lot easier because everyone already understands that. But
without a doubt,
we still got to go through the first one to get to the second one. So it's a really big deal. It's a lot of fun when we see it actually happen from A to Z. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, yes. All right. I think that kind of wraps up today what we wanted to get across, what our roles, relationships with our customers are. You know, we don't go out and make acquisitions. We help people. We do all sorts of stuff. But there's so much people behind DT. You know, you talk about a company that has moving pieces that you don't see. I mean, you can go down the list of every successful company and there's 100 people behind the scenes doing things that make the face of that company successful. That is no different with us and DET. It's not just our service providers that are part of our team. It's our customers that we're part of their team. Without them and their leadership and giving us an ability to do what we do, you know, and we're thankful for those guys because they're working just as hard as we are on these projects to make this stuff happen. Big shout out to all those people. The customer list is still growing. Very exciting for 2021. Looks like Q1, Q2 is going to be good and back at it. So keep at it, guys. If anything, when in doubt, keep it salty and tune in next week.